People ask me that question. They say, Velvets were so influential. In fact, even my friends um, will say that to me. Sal, my friend Sal, he says, the group was tremendously important to me. And I used to poo-poo it and say, no, you don't know what you're talking about. We were just a band. But I realized that at some point I had to stop doing that because what's important to other people is different than what's important to me. And, there were other bands that, to me, were very important that were when I was growing up, and that I'm sure those guys said, it's just a band. We played music, There is a certain, there is a difference between the Velvet Underground that was happening when it was happening and the historical Velvet Underground. Anytime you look back on something, it looks different than when you're in the middle of it. Living the experience, and the times had a great deal to do with it. When we were, when I was young, and it was 1920, the center of the universe was rock and roll. It was what was happening. It was where it was happening, and it was where the social commentary was. And most kids in their 20s are concerned with their social conscience is active. They want to change the world. They want to make things better or make things worse or whatever they want. They feel the need to have direct action on their environment and their culture. And at that time, that's what rock and roll was for. That's where it was. So that's why I say it was the center of the universe, and there was no other place to be, except to be doing that. And so consequently, it wasn't a situation where, you said, let's change the music or let's make a new music. It was just doing it. It was just being there and being part of it. Now you look back and people analyze it, and I saw one person was saying, well, Lou's great contribution was this one particular chord run-up that, he did that no one else did. Well, that may be, but for me, his contribution was, again, as I said, is his genius with melody, his ability to do that. And the band was a sort of an odd combination of people with different strengths that complemented each other in different ways. Both the original group and the second group, the second Velvet Underground. I can't explain why it was so influential. It's totally a mystery to me. It just confused. It eludes me because it was just a band. It was just a lot of fun, and we had, it was amazing that it was going on at the time, because we were all saying, like, wow, people are paying us money to do the thing we'd be wanting to do anyway, even if we weren't making any money. And then we look back and saw that we really weren't making any money, that someone else was. But yeah, I see what people say about it. I understand that they see this kind of influence, and I see it myself. I see that a lot of times I'll hear bands play and I'll say, oh, I recognize that. I recognize that little bit, that little lick, or that rhythm or something like that. I say, that's such and such a song. But I see that from other bands too, So it's a complete mystery to me,